Basically what I will do, since the audience is students, so I'm not going to go more into business jargon. I will try to, highlight what we are doing and what is the scope of, agri warehousing and this collateral management part, because most of the time we are working on this across the India. And I will try to sensitize a few areas where you can focus on, because at some point of time you will be running some organization at a very good positions in different organizations. So you must be knowing what are the things you should focus on. So whoever is interested to develop work in agri value chain sector. So a lot of things have since last 50 years. CWC is more than 70 years. So a lot of things have been done in agri warehousing, but still a lot of things to be done, because it is still a bit of unorganized. So every one of us are trying to make it organized and digitized, and we are making warehousing also as agri tech sector. Recently, government has made it logistics as an industry, warehousing as an industry, and also government has given a lot of impetus like agri infrastructure fund, and then this 100% FDI. These are all avenues are coming up. So definitely you will be seeing a lot of changes in this sector. So let me show a few slides about this. So everybody know what is agri warehousing and collateral management. Basically, you all are agri students, and you must be knowing about agri warehousing. So agri warehousing is nothing but when farmer harvest anything, and when consumptions happen, in between there is some storage is required in order to safeguard the quality and quantity of the goods. So that is agri warehousing. So it may be the warehousing may be in the field level, it may be in the APMC level, or it may be in the backside of the processing unit, or it may be in the port, or it may be once the processing is done, the product can be stored in cities or in silos or in cold storages, anything. So between this harvest to consumption, the storage is required. So storage along with logistics is required. So we are a part of this entire logistics sector. So, and we are dependent on agri warehousing, which is not more than 120 million metric ton right now in India. Though the production of food grain itself, it is not entire agri production. If you say it is around 268 or 270 million metric ton, and now storage is only 120 million metric ton. So you can imagine what is a kind of story there, right? So let me show the slides. So let's see how this agri warehousing is actually poised. So I have made few slides quickly in half an hour, whatever I can show you. So this is a kind of, everyone can see the slide. Can you see my slides?
No, sir. No, we are not able to see.
No, sir.
Just a minute. I'm sharing. Yeah. So basically, this is the size of agri warehousing right now in India. So it is poised at around 120 million metric tons. So the largest one is your Food Corporation of India. For PDS procurement, they store across India. Preferably they focus on government warehouses like Central Warehousing Corporation, State Warehousing Corporation, and then different cooperative warehousing bodies in the states. Then if at all more space is required, then they go for private warehouses. So Central Warehousing Corporation, it is the oldest one. Then state warehouse, there are 17 state warehousing corporation in India. Every state is having one state warehousing corporation, and they are the bigger one. Then apart from that, there are different cooperative warehouses in different states. So you can find Haped in Haryana, you can find, Gujko Marshall in Gujarat, and there are a lot of Mahakot is there, Gujkot is there. So there are a lot of warehousing companies have been formed by Government of India in order to, facilitate this agri warehousing across India. And rest around 18, 19 million metric ton is there managed by different private players. So like us. So there are many players who are, working in this sector like NCML, NBSC, Star Agri, Go Green Warehouses, Edelweiss, and many, many, many more. So now slowly, this private sector intervention is increasing because government is also trying to, convert their entire storage into private-public partnership mode, and they are opening a lot of tenders and they are giving it to the private players, right? So basically, if you see there, the agri warehousing, there are different four types of agri warehousing you will find in the entire industry. That is, it is either dry warehouse, or it is a cold warehouse, cold storage, or it is a silo having loose commodities, or it is a liquid storage having, the commodities, edible oil or any liquid kind of storage. So this is the four types of storage you will find across India, right? So if you see the typical, warehousing sector, it is basically governed by Government of India, because FCI and CWC was the prior, they are the pioneer in the agri warehousing sector. They were the oldest organization in country. They have actually taught us to do agri warehousing, because as you know, there is a lot of, food grain is being stored by FCI. During the lockdown also, you have seen a lot of food grains have been moving from one state to other state, and they were being supplied to different public. So we are self-sufficient in food grain. So India, you can sustain 1 year without also production. So that much of, food grain is there with us. So this government organization like FCI, NAFED, and they are playing a lot of role, and they are trying to procure material with MSP, minimum support price declared by government, and they are also supporting farmers to minimize the distress sale. Similarly, the CCI has started, and they have been active and in procuring cotton, because cotton is one of the, largest fiber across the world. It is an international company. These are the government organization. They are aggressively working in the procurement of the agri commodities since last few years. So when they procure this material, they need to store it. Otherwise, because if you can see, last year, Cotton Corporation of India has bought around, 1 crore bales. It is a huge volume. Out of, 3.5, 3.6 crore of cotton production, CCI only have brought around 1 crore bales, which is very high. So this needs to be, taken care of. So that's why they have plotted a lot of, tenders for the private players. And what they say, they're going to hire private godowns with warehousing facilities at par with CWC and SWC services. At par with CWC and SWC would include preservation, maintenance, and security. So basically, they want manpower from us. They want the commodity management from us. That is the preservation. Maintenance means whatever commodities has come to the warehouse, it should also go out of warehouse in the same form. So it's like a grain bank, it's like a cotton bank, it's like a product bank. So, and security. So there should not be any loss to the, owner of the commodity. So basically, these private players, they work for government in this mode, this PMS mode, most of the time, right? So I think this is clear. So why this storage is required? I was just telling in the beginning. Storage is required. It constitutes essential phase between this crop harvesting and consumption. Whether it is a primary consumption, whether some grain merchant is selling it in the wholesale market or in a retail store, or it is being processed and it is being, done flour or oil or anything, and it is being exported or it is being sold again. Packing and all. But it is the storage is required in every phase of the movement of the commodity, from harvesting till consumption. So these are the growth drivers actually for storage. Because of them only we are there in the market, because now population is increasing, and by 2030 the entire population will be almost double. So the food requirement will be double. So the production needs to be increased. So that's why a lot of R&D activities are being going on, how to increase, farmers' income, how to double the farming, how to increase the productivity, how to increase the production, how to, diversify the crop, how to increase the perishability of the different commodities. So these research are going on. So definitely the motto is to increase more crop production. Second thing is this food processing is one of the area where government is giving a lot of impetus, because uh, this food can be processed and it can be stored for a longer time. So even if it is not available in the raw form, it can be available at any point of time. And now after this this lockdown and after this corona and all, everybody is interested towards packed food, hygienic food. So this food processing sector is going to increase, and it is one of the area everyone is focusing on. And there is an demand for export and import, because we are very low in pulse production. So every year we have to import a lot of pulses from other countries, and also we are importing many other raw material from other countries. So we are exporting various commodities like rice, wheat, maize and all from our side, but we are importing a lot of things also. So in the port area, actually the warehousing is increasing, because a lot of CFS are being formed, the train is connected, then a lot of things are happening. So because of this export import also, we are getting a lot of business. Then there is a farmer welfare is going on. MSP, I have told, the government is being active. NAFED is very active. They are procuring every commodity across India and selling it, and directly from farmer. Like CCI is active. Lot of federation in every states, Rajasthan Federation, or you say any state, the federation is also active, and they are procuring a lot of material from farmer on MSP and they are storing it. So this is also one of the area which is giving the growth impetus to this warehousing sector. Similarly, this government of India has, announced few declaration in the last session, where there is a declaration of 1 lakh, crore agri infrastructure fund, where it is basically will be focused on storage, agri storage and processing sector. And also in SME ministry has developed this 100 crore limit of, SME. So a lot of impetus has been given. So a lot of tax benefit, lot of they can take loan as an SME with a very lower rate of interest. So a lot of things are being carried out. And basically also now NAFED has taken a step, and government has appointed NAFED as a nodal agency to promote around 10,000 FPOs, where a single farmer cannot take a big risk. And so a group of farmer, about 300 farmers, can form a farmer producer organization, and they can store the goods, and they can sell the commodities at a higher price when prices are high in the market. Whereas in the earlier days, they were used to sell the commodity at whatever price they were getting in the local mandi or with the pakka adtiya or kacha adtiyas. So NABARD has also declared a lot of schemes. Out of that, this godown scheme is very attractive. They are giving around 33% subsidy up to 50 lakh to any individual who wanted to build a warehouse for agricultural storage purpose. So this is very attractive. So a lot of people who are having their land, they are converting it into godowns. So also by National Cold Chain Development Authority, so a lot of impetus has been given to cold chain sector also. So lot of subsidies are being given by government to develop cold storage. So it is also increasing. So these are few areas where we are looking as a businessman how to see this growth in the agri warehousing sector. So agri warehousing system. So these are the actually these are all participants, or these are all stakeholders in the entire agri warehousing. So we have to actually look into everyone. First of all, it is warehouses. So any warehouses like Go Green warehouse or any single owner warehouse. The first and foremost thing is that he should be profitable. If I'm investing a lot of money in building a warehouse and I'm not getting proper rent, and I am not able to repay my EMI to the bank, then it is very, very difficult for the warehouse owner to sustain in a long-term basis. So many have built a lot of warehouses, but eventually they have given it to different industrialists or they have converted into various other things, because they were not making money. So it is the first and foremost requirement that warehouse owners should earn money. So that is the first thing. because, you know, if you see the current, expenditure apart from land, it is not less than 1000 rupees a square feet. The construction cost is there because cement, steel, everything is going off, you know. So at least somebody, if building a warehouse, then he should get some good rental so that he can sustain. So that is the first thing. Second thing, these farmers in India, you know, they are the one who has been, contacted by everyone, whether it is a input dealer, whether it is a input company, whether it is a development agency, whether it is a, bank or anybody who they goes to farmer, because, you know, they know farmers are there and they are the landlord. They are not the only farmers, because they can grow crops and they can, use their products and services very easily. So in India, it is 85% of the farmers are small and marginal farmers. So most of our production, what we're taking, it is coming from them only. So every bank, every development organization, everyone is focusing on farmers. But what farmers are getting? A lot of MSP, prices have been declared, but in many states this year I am seeing a lot of, commodities like groundnut and cotton, and everywhere the prices are above MSP. So eventually the farmers are getting benefited. So this is one of the way where the farmers have got benefit. So the second way is that as a warehousing, which I told, if farmer, I will go to the farmer and I ask him to store 100 ton of paddy, then what he will tell, I have a lot of, debts I have to give to input dealer. I have to, incur my, the school fees of my children, and I have a lot of, money I have taken from others and all that. So I have to immediately repay them before the new season comes. So I don't want to store the good, this material. I will just sell it off whatever price I am getting. So he will just give it to the village aggregator, or most of the time we call kacha adtiya, and he will take at a very lower price and he will give him cash. And the pakka adtiya, if he is having some kind of, risk taking ability, he will store in the warehouse, or he will simply pass on the material to the pakka adtiyas or any companies, processors, millers, or anybody, and he will go away. So that is the normal practice now going on everywhere. So it is the farmer who is never coming into warehousing. If you see the entire participation, lot of schemes have been made. This warehouse received finance scheme is launched, then agri exchanges scheme is launched, FPOs are being formed, and lot of other schemes have been, formed by Government of India. But what is the participation? We have to see. It is not more than 5 to 10%. So we have to still look at farmers, how they can come to this system. FPOs and FPC, it is not easy. A lot of 1000 FPOs and FPCs are there, but all are, inactive. Few of them are active. And it is now time that we can push them and tell them, you are not a small farmer, you are a group of people having a company, private limited company, and you can run processing, you can run all other activities in agriculture, and you can earn. So this is the third pillar of our sector. Then wholesalers are basically, they are the people who are connected with the end consumer, either a retailer or the direct consumers. So they take the material in the very, packed form and in the processed form, and they just sell it out. Millers, all these processors and millers, they want their raw material to be cheaper, and it should be nearer to their factory. And when the demand is there, that at that point of time, the raw materials should be available to their factory. These are the three objectives of any processor or miller. So as a warehousing company, or as a warehouseman, or as a warehouse owner, we have to look into those, processing clusters. What is the commodity and how many factories are there? And if I'm putting a warehouse nearer to that cluster, then definitely the warehouses will be used by the millers and processors. So we look into that. Institutional buyer, these are all MNC companies. A lot of money is there, and they are spread across the country. They are doing a lot of international business as well as, domestic business. They are having a lot of money, so they can be a part of your business, and they can support you as a warehouse service provider. A lot of retailers, organized wholesalers and e-tailers, like, JioMart is coming. Then Amazon is already there. Then lot of players are there, So they are doing their own private labeling and selling it directly to the customers through their digital platform. So Exim players, I have told you, all exporters or importers, they are getting good margins as compared to the domestic trade. So then a lot of SAers, inspection agencies, then stock monitoring agency, they are there in the port and non-port area to survey the cargo, they certify the cargo, they do the monitoring of the, loading, unloading, and during the storage, the monitoring, all these stops they are doing. So they are playing a lot of role because they ensures the quality and quantity of the goods during the logistics. So commodity exchanges are there. So there are 3-4 active commodity exchanges are there in India. So one of them is NCDX, other one is BSE, MCX, and NMCE. All those are there in the country, and they are trying to digitize the commodity through different contracts, and where they have opened up a digital platform where buyers and sellers are connected, and they used to facilitate the knowledge and skill to both the sides and try to increase the trade online, so that there will be good price discovery, there will be hedging facility can be extended to the buyer and seller, and this is there. So a lot of things are happening, so you must be going through different news and all. And then this banks plays a very good role, because commodity, in the back of commodity there is a finance business is going on. So without money, commodity cannot be stored. If I am a farmer or I am a trader, if I am buying a lot of commodities and I am blocking my capital, then it will be very difficult for me to run my processing plant or do the marketing, right? So I need some working capital. For that I will go to bank. So preferably I will try to get without giving any collateral. So this commodity warehouse management, this commodity financing is one of the instrument where without collateral you can get money, and whenever you will be selling that commodity, then you can immediately repay your loan and you can be free. So a lot of banks and non-banking finance companies are focusing on financing in the country. Then there are port authorities, there are railway is also focusing on this different type of corridors they are making. Not so then they are improving a lot of goods train. They have started perishable goods train. So a lot of things are happening. So they are also helping they are also the means to they are also one of the stakeholders, because if you are closer to railway reg point, then your warehouses will be utilized. If you are away from railway, then the goods which is coming through railway, it won't be going to your warehouse. So these are all agencies are also playing a lot of role in the warehousing sector. Security agencies, because this is these warehouses are generally in a remote location, or it is in the independent location. So 24/7 CCTV monitoring or security monitoring is a crucial point. So in India, I think a lot of security players are associated whenever you are thinking of any warehousing. So then HNT agents like handling and transportation, loading, unloading, a lot of equipments and machineries have been formed, but still the manual labor still plays a lot of role in agri management. Pest control agencies, they try to improve the quality of the commodities when it is stored in the warehouse. So these are all stakeholders. Actually, they are playing a very crucial role to improve this agri warehousing sector, right? So this is a nutshell. I have tried to show you agri warehousing as a nutshell. So let's understand what is CM, and then we will understand different issues and different opportunities in this sector. So collateral management is nothing but one step ahead of agri warehousing. So I am just trying to put collateral management in perspective of warehousing. I am not putting collateral management as a stock monitoring agent like in SEEP or in the international collateral management. I am just putting it in the perspective of warehousing. So collateral manager is a middleman between service provider and lender. So lender may be a corporate company, lender may be an exchange, lender may be an any banks, NBFCs, whoever may be there. But this collateral management ensures the lender and this service provider both that whatever goods are stored in the warehouse or whatever goods are being under their custody, it is the quality and quantity and safety of the goods are maintained. Okay, so basically their role is to preserve, protect on behalf of the lender. So they are just representative of lender. So they ensures that whether bank officials are visiting or not, it is their responsibility that whatever goods have been stored in the warehouse or have been in their custody, it is as such, it will be delivered to the lender or the borrower, whoever has taken lending from the banks. And at some point of times, if there is any mishap, in the operations or in the handling of the commodities, so they should have a, capacity to absorb the losses to the commodities to their balance sheet. So this is the very painful, scenario for collateral manager. And basically they are the person who is having their own R&D department where they usually do price information and price discovery everyday basis. So they try to understand what is the price of the commodity on daily basis, and accordingly they do the pricing, and accordingly whatever price they are giving on the storage receipt or warehouse receipt to the banker or NBFCs, or so that is being accepted by them, and then financing is done according to that price of the commodity. So they play these three roles. So basically, if you say in the trade facilitation service, lot of Exim banks are there, a lot of trade facilitation agencies are there. So where we act as a collateral manager for them, we ensure that whatever lending they have done, it is safe and secure under our custody. And from exchange warehouse, also if at Go Green warehouses is a WSP to BSE commodity exchange, so we ensure them that whatever commodities is being delivered in the warehouses, it is safe and secure. And we also work with NERL and CCRL to repository developed by WDRA and Government of India, where we act as a collateral manager to them, and as a WSP to, in technical terms, they call us as a warehouse service provider, but we are acting as a collateral manager, and we ensure quality, quantity, and safety of the goods stored in our warehouses in the form of PNWR. And also wherever there is a possibility, this WSP act as a collateral manager to ensure buyer and seller in the online market. So now ENAM is coming as a so where these warehouses can be a software to the APMC or ENAM and National Agriculture Market. So where quality, quantity, and safety needs to be assured through proper assaying and monitoring by warehousing agency. So a lot of private players have come up with their own e-marketplaces. NABARD is this NAFED is also trying to make a few Kisan Mandis across India to procure directly from farmers out of APMC. So they have declared some locations across India, and they will be coming up with different where these FPOs and other will be involved, right? So these are the role of CM. So these 4-5 things as a CM we ensures in different platform, right? So it is not a old term. It is it is the old term. So we try to ensure that whatever trade, whether it is a bank or it is an exchange or it is a trade facilitation agency or it is a e-market, so whatever payments are, this payment default is not there because goods are there under our custody. So we can ensure that whenever the release order is not there from the lender side, the material will be under our custody and this payment default will be ensured. I mean, that can be secured. So that is a role of basically a collateral manager in the whole scenario. So many people are doing many things, but this is the baseline. So we try to ensure that the lender or in the trade, the payment default won't be there, right? So they always talk about the CMs because warehouse service provider and CM, the difference is that the CM talks about more financial banking terminology. So they will talk what is the commodity, what are the varieties, what is the type of financing facility has been given to the borrower, what is the loan facility, maximum tenure of loan is what, and period of disbursement, designated warehouse, what is the location, how much insurance have been covered, what is the kind of margin you have taken in the commodity while you are trading or you are financing, right? If there is a margin call, if the prices are going down, then it is not the commodity price, it is the loan, you know, loan principal plus warehouse charges plus interest plus penalty. That charge should be recovered when we dispose of the material. So these are the things actually the CM needs to know, and they should be observant on behalf of the lender, so that this entire CM ecosystem can prosper, right? So these are other things the CM tries to understand from lender, that is what is the rate of interest you have given, and what is the frequency you have asked this, because these are very important, because if if there is a monthly invoice is generated and it is to be paid in monthly basis, and the borrower is not paying on time and is being delaying to 2 months, 3 months, then there is a chance of default. So it is the CM to be alert and take all kind of measures and inform the lender. So that's why these are the things always they look into, they review into everyday basis, like insurance details, what are the duties, what are the government policies are being changed and all, and what are the repayment mechanism, is there any collateral is kept by the bank that if it defaults then they can recover. So all those things the CM tries to understand, though it is not his responsibility, because he has insured the bank about the quality, quantity, and safety basically. So this is an additional role, this as a collateral manager we have to play, right? So I think I could tell you about the agri warehousing and collateral collateral management as a perspective, what it is and how, what are the things is expected from a professional and a students like you. When you go out of college and you go to different warehousing companies or maybe government or NAFED or anybody, so you can see this thing needs to be taken care of. So let us see now a small video about Go Green. What we are trying to take some initiative as a startup company since last 2 years in different part of the country. We are around, we are basically we are right now around 2 years old. And just a minute, I will have to show this video. This link is not working. Can you see this video?
No, sir.
No, sir, it's not
No,
visible.
sir.
Just a minute.
You just stop sharing and then once again you can share the video, sir.
So till now everything is okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any doubt? No.
No, sir.
Let's see this video.
Go Green warehouses are built on the foundations of collective efforts for the farm to fork economy. And Go Green warehouses make solar renewable flexibility and a seamless job creation for farmers, businesses, techniques, traders, and brand stakeholders, including the government. But widespread struggles to the mainstream management ecosystem, Go Green warehouses is becoming a milestone position for the agri-industry.
Sorry, sir, to disturb you, but video voice is not clear, sir.
Group B warehouses enable them to access some data and logistics for manufacturing customers. Implement logistics services start from warehousing and develop to in-stock delivery solutions. Our session with quality and service inspired us to set up Go Green Labs and enable the profit monitoring with reliable instruction and monitors. Offering world-class management systems and risk management services for carbon, commodities, and warehouses. We have also set up Go Green Care, an advanced risk management service for all stakeholders that spans through the commitment to safety and society. So our development of warehouse and workplace, Go Green Warehouses aims to become a trusted partner in realizing Europeans of farm to fork. Steady course towards that and carbon positive emissions, Go Green Warehouses is transforming the agriculture industry. Go Green Warehouses.
So it was audible to everybody. Let's see what is the scope actually. I have got this number from someone actually. He has shared me. So this is a kind of opportunity in agri warehousing. So we have tried. He has actually tried to put the numbers on board. So total food. So can you see? No.
No, sir, we are not able to see.
Again, I have to share.
Are able to see it?
Yeah. So this is a kind of balance sheet of agri warehousing in India. Basically, total food production is around 284.95 million metric ton, and government generally procures around 33% of it, and minimum buffer stock to keep for PDS and other things is 21 million metric ton. Total stock in store by government is around 100. This is the last year's data. So 115 million metric ton because they stored more. Total storage capacity by government is 75 million metric ton. So overlapping factor from Khari and Rabi, because this basically December, January is a month where Kharif and Rabi overlapping is there. That is around 1.23 million metric ton. So balance left for private trade and warehousing. So 169.92 million metric ton. So this is the balance left for trade and warehousing basically. So this is the market size. You can say it is for private market size. It is around 169 million metric ton, right? And out of that, only 19 million metric ton have been used by all private players. So direct industry utilization is around 11%. Then retention by farmers in their backyard at village level or somehow with them is around 10%, which is, and stock left for private storage and trade around 115. And current storage capacity, corporate plus private, if you put together, it is around 77 million metric ton. And if you add both and deduct it from the total capacity, then still there is a lack of around 20 million metric ton of space. So there is still a need of 20 million metric ton of agri warehousing in the country to just maintain the current requirement of storage of food grains. So it is huge. So that's why this all this PEG scheme and other schemes have been on by Government of India, and lot of warehousing impetus have been given. So now this AIF is very lucrative because it is you are getting around 2.5 crore rupees worth of loan with a very nominal rate of interest to build warehouse and processing unit, collection centers, and any kind of agri unit. So this is the liquid. This is the area actually. This is the potential of expansion of warehousing. So you as a student, when you come out of institute, so this is the area you should look at. So how to develop these new warehouses in these capabilities. If you see collateral management finance, this is the whole scenario. Around 2 lakh crore of potential is there, right? So rice is one of the major commodity because India, rice is being cultivated in India. Mostly the production is high. This is the number one cereal commodity. Then if you can go down, you can see the second one is spices because the value is very high, right? And 9 oil seeds. So soya bean, mustard, castor, and all those 9 oil seeds they put together around 15% of the total collateral management. So these different banks and trade financiers and everybody is just capturing this 2 lakh crore of loan every year. So this is the potential of warehouse received finance in India. So this can be taken over and that is there. So that was the warehousing. Around 20 million metric ton expansion can be possible, and this CM market still it is 2 lakh metric ton potential is there, right? So this is the third area, agro processing. I told. So in every stage, if you are in the processing, primary processing or secondary processing or tertiary processing, everywhere you will need warehousing and logistics. So whether you are dealing with fruits and vegetables, grains or cereals or dairy product or meat or poultry or marine products or edible oil, everywhere you will need this warehousing and collateral management as well as this logistics support function, what I have shown in the ecosystem, right? And if you see ports, I told these are the major 7-8 ports where agri commodities are moving across. So you can see almost these are the commodities. So last one is vegetable oil. So these are the major ports where this movement is there, and it is huge volume. It is huge volume. So there is a lot of scope for agri warehousing and collateral management. So now government has developed few new things like ENWR. I told this is so that they are trying to digitize the commodity into ENWR form. Then WDRA have been formed, so they are approving the warehouses and they are facilitating this ENWR through 2 RPs. Then exchanges have been formed to hedge the commodity so that the farmer and traders and processor they can hedge their commodity, and there will be price risk will be low, right? And e-marketplace, there are a lot of now government has given license to everybody who is having a PAN card. He can open a marketplace and buy and sell a commodity. So out of APMC, earlier it was not there. So now Contract Farming Act has been formalized. Then logistics have been given industrial starters. So a lot of things are happening. So in the coming days, you will find a lot of expansion of this agri warehousing and collateral management sector. So I think these are a few things I wanted to share with you. If so, now how much time is left?
Yes, sir. Again, 20 minutes is there.
So I would like to interact. So I have just tried to show you the entire opportunities which is there. So let us take more questions and answers so that will clarify a lot of things. I think instead of just telling one-sided, it is better to interact from both sides, right?
Right, sir. Right. So, Srikant, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. It is you've given a lot of valuable insights. So I'll now go ahead and ask you a few questions that have been raised by our students.
Right.
The first question is, how do you leverage technology such as artificial intelligence, cloud computing in agri warehousing? And one of our students has also asked another question that is pertaining to geotagging of warehouses.
Yeah.
And how does it work?
Yeah, it works actually. Basically, we are working with HDFC Bank for collateral management across India. So it is totally online. They don't have any paper work. So starting from this loan documents till disbursement, there is no paperwork. Everything is done through a software. They have developed a very good software, and it is totally online. So the locations are geotagged. And if you say as a warehousing company, there are 3 aspects I look at as far as artificial intelligence and geotagging are concerned. First thing is that few initiatives have been done in the quality testing part. There are few companies, few startup they have started. They are giving instant, quality reports when inward is happening in the warehouse through artificial intelligence. They are putting an instrument, and when you put the material, they have done all algorithms behind it and get the results immediately. Whereas if I am sending that sample to the lab and getting the result, it takes around 12 hours, 20 to 24 hours. And if it is a lengthy, chemical test, then it takes around 48 hours, 72 hours also. But they are able to give it within a fraction of minute. So I think it will change lot of things in the inward process, because it will be very fast. Once this quality report is given, then immediately the supplier will get money, according to the quality report only the payment is done. So once this payment is given to the supplier, then he will supply more material because his capital is being taken care of. So this is one of the initiative I am looking at, that it will grow in a very big way. Second thing is in audit and inspection. Right now, what is happening, the warehouses in agri warehousing, basically all the warehouses are at very remote locations, and we are putting security guards. So it is very difficult to monitor the security guards on day-to-day basis. So we do a lot of night patrolling, then we call them from office and from the central office, and we try to, control them. But still it is a manpower and it is a human being, and they have various ways of jugards where they can cheat the system. So I think this is an area everybody. So this is very, very crucial, because we are storing, crores of worth material in every warehouse, and this security part is very, very important. So if we can devise something and we can do a central surveillance system for a warehousing company who is having more than 100 warehouses across India, and we can develop a system, then definitely it will be one of the area where everybody would interest to work on. This is the second thing. Third thing is that this monitoring of the manpower. We have made our warehouses geotagged, and we have taken a HR software where this geotagging is done. So everybody has to go to the warehouse at around 9 o'clock or 8:30, whatever is being fixed by the system. And if he is away, then 10 meters from the warehouse, then his attendance is not going to come. So that kind of a system we have made. Similarly, in the back end, in the business development team, they basically move on to meet clients. They go to the warehouse owners, they go to the banks and all. So we have put a geotagging system where in the end of the day, our system gives us the daily report. So how many kilometers he has covered, and whom he has met, and how many clients he has met, and what is a kind of, so the travel claims can be automatically on daily basis withdrawn from the system. So these are the few areas we have implemented. And, there are n number of things. So basically this warehouse hiring decision-making system can also be one of the AI-based system, because, right now it is all gut feeling that whether this decision, whatever research data is coming in the, by different agencies, sometimes it is manipulated. So we take lot of wrong decisions. If there will be any system where a warehouse man or a warehouse service provider can, estimate whether to hire a warehouse, whether to build a warehouse or not, then that kind of a decision-making system can be built through AI. Then it will definitely be taken off by everybody, all the service provider across India. So that is one of the area, because now we are losing a lot of money because of wrong decision. Because we have taken a warehouse, and this time, Corona has come, and you have a contract with the warehouse owner. You cannot leave after and before 6 months. So you have to pay the rent, whether your material is coming in the warehouse or not. So this is a kind of loss actually we are having. So these are the three areas you, as a student, you can look at. So this is an immediate requirement for a warehousing sector, right? So one I have told about quality, one about security monitoring. Third one I have told about the monitoring of the staffs, because a lot of the expenses in the travel claims we are getting, it is very high. It is very high. If we are not monitoring properly, then you are gone. So, and fourth one I told about this one. Anything?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. There's another question. This is with respect to the challenges that are faced. So one of our student has asked, what are the challenges that are faced in terms of labor, in terms of distribution, in terms of delivery to stay competitive in the business?
So basically logistics means challenge, you know.
Yes.
So that's why people actually, that's why this 3PL concept has come. So everybody tells that you give it to a third party player. So when you give the, you know, so you can see the logo of Go Green also. We tell your wares are our worries. So every time we are ready to take your wares actually. So basically logistics is it's a very smart street job. So everybody has to be smart street, and it is not planned. So you have planned something and it has gone in a very different direction. So every time we have a plan A, plan B, plan C kind of an arrangement every time. So as far as this, you told about the delivery labor and all, labor is a very notorious, you know, aspect of housing. So if they want, they can come. If they don't want, they don't come. So if you have equipments, then equipments can be used, but labor is very difficult. So it is a challenging. There are labor unions. There are, you know, there are various things. So you have to tackle that. Regarding the delivery, basically if the transporter union is there. There are a lot of, you know, lot of choices are there. The employee of the client, they want to bring someone on his own. He don't want to use your service provider. So all those challenges are, this is day-to-day operational challenges, and we have, you know, made this, you know, three vendor, four vendor, five vendor, multiple vendors kind of a, you know, arrangement for every services, so that at times we have to tackle that. So in agri warehousing, it is a challenge that the client, basically when we deal with any bank or any kind of corporate clients, they give us only 48 hours. So today they will tell, I want Santosh, I want 10,000 metric ton of space in XYZ location. You have to come back by tomorrow. Otherwise, I will give it to other. And so I have to bring someone, you know, someone supervisor. I have to bring the space in contact with the warehouse owner. If I don't have my own space, then I have to bring a SAR who will look after the quality of the goods. Then I bring, you know, 2 security guards, and I will arrange all infrastructure, and I have to start within 48 hours. So it is definitely challenging. And that's why it is a manpower intensive and operational, you know, business. The kind of operations and the service delivery you have, you can win accordingly.
True, sir.
Shrikant sir, I have a question. Krishna here.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Krishna.
Santosh sir, this is Krishna Upuluri here, working as a programs manager with SAR Group of Institutions.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for accepting this invitation to give the talk.
Yeah,
sir, I am very curious to know about what are some of the scientific steps being taken, because we know that post-harvest losses even now in India is very high. Like I recently read a FICCI report which said that close to 1 lakh crores, 1 lakh crore worth of post-harvest losses are there. So considering food security in India, what are some of the scientific steps that Go Green is taking, sir?
Basically, as a warehouse service provider, basically we have to go by, you know, the natural warehouse, the scientific warehousing steps. So it is a very simple SOPs. It is being developed in last 100 years. So it has been studied by different agencies and it has been made. So basically, you know, this if you see a typical grain or any agri commodity, it needs a lot of, you know, it needs aeration. So in any warehouse, whenever we are accepting any material, there is a moisture level, you know, because moisture plays a lot of role. Everybody knows when there is high moisture, then the insects, pests, and fungus and bacteria, this attack is very high, right? So there is a pure science. Whenever any commodities comes to our warehouse, the first step is the quality check, right? So if it is having higher moisture, then it is rejected, right? If it is infested, then it has to be fumigated, and the material should be kept aside, because one single grain which is infested and comes and it is there in the along with the good grain, then it will spoil the entire, you know, stack. So there is a proper, so the process is when anybody like, you know, any depositor comes to us, we ask we fix the commercial, and then we ask them then when your cargo is going to come. So there is a weighbridge because we deal with bulk handling, bulk material. So he will come to the weighbridge, and any one of us, one of the warehouse supervisor, he will go to the weighbridge and he will check the weight of the material. Then the gate pass and everything will be checked. The invoice is checked, whether the owner has brought or somebody else has brought, everything is checked. Then it comes to the warehouse, and in the warehouse level, first thing is that the quality sampler, he stands at the door of the warehouse and he try to take samples from each and every bag. If it is a grain, if it is cotton, then the process of sampling is different. So each and every bag samples is taken, and it is being made one sample, and then the representative sample is sent to lab. And in the warehouse level, we have basic quality testing facilities, like we can do physical testing, like moisture level, foreign matter or color, whatever requirement as per commercial terms, we do at the warehouse level. If the commodity is not at par with the requirement, then immediately we can inform the depositor or the lender that this material is not storage worthy. So you can reject it, or you can sell it in the local market, or we cannot store it. Then the material comes to the warehouse. If it is good, then we do there is a stacking pattern. So there are different kind of stacking patterns are there for commodity wise. So we do a basic 30 by 90 kind of a stacking common stacking pattern. So the stack is being given, and then the normal warehousing is done, because you have to see, because it is not a commercial product, it is not a manufactured product. So this commodity comes from different field, and it is having variance in the quality, because quality is purely relative terms. So we have to put the stack wise, the stock should be placed, and we have to also stack supplier wise. If the stack is very small, then we have to put something in between, and we have to separate the stock, because when the delivery is happened, we have to ensure them that whatever quality has been brought, because we have given them the certificate, the quality certificate and the quantity certificate, whatever bags and whatever weight has been taken up, we have to ensure that this quantity and quality is maintained. So the moisture plays a very vital role, because during the storage, at times moisture gain happens, and in some commodities moisture loss happens. So we have to take inward and outward moisture, and we have to calculate, and there is a standard formula for each and every commodity, that there is a base minimum moisture content of every commodity. Beyond that, the moisture loss doesn't happen. So we have to scientifically look at that. So if say maize is a commodity, and you are bringing maize at a moisture level of 15-16%, definitely there will be huge loss. But if you are bringing it at 13% or 12%, then definitely loss will be low. So when the purchase manager or the procurement agency or the company who is procuring the material and bringing it to the warehouse, these are the factors they have to look at. Otherwise, the loss will be high. So, and once the moisture level will be high, then definitely there is a chance of getting fungus affected, and the quality and the price of the goods will be low. So we do. So this is the inward and outward process we maintain. During the storage, what we do, we have we have an audit and inspection department. There are 5-tier audit system is being made in the company. So first level, the warehouse supervisor gives a monthly stock report and entire operation report of his warehouse. Then there is area manager and state head above him. They also give, so they 10%, 20% of the warehouses being allotted to them to monitor the warehouse. So they go and they check. So basically the high risk warehouses, we give it to the seniors. So they go and they check, and they give the reports to the head office. And there is a independent audit and inspection team who is sitting in the head office, and they have auditors across all states. They go without informing any business or operation team. They go to the warehouse, and they can monitor, and they can audit and they can do surprise audit, and they can tell anything, audit report to the head office, and we do that. Apart from that, there is a third party, there is a quarterly third party agency is there. They do the audit. Then if banks have placed, then banks comes. If it is a government player, then their bodies have come for audit. And so there are a lot of, audit agencies have been coming to see the entire period of storage. So in between, we do all kind of, scientific process we have done, like we do every 15 days, we do spraying of, prophylactic spraying in order to control the, this flying insect. Then we do fumigation in every 45 days. If it is highly infested, then we do at 30 days. If, it is a winter season, then we extend it to 60 days because, so that way we manage it. So, and recurrently every 15 days, we take a CHR, that is called as commodity health report, that whether the material is damaged or not. If it is damaged, then immediately we inform the lender or borrower or depositor that you release the material, otherwise, you will lose your money. So that kind of continuous, the operations teams are doing to check the quality, quantity, and safety of the goods. So in cotton, lot of, firefighting arrangement has to be done, the hydrants and water facility, because once cotton catches fire, then nobody can stop it. So we try to, control all sorts of precautions before we take any warehouse in cotton. So there is a standard code of operation. CWC has made 50 years back, and a lot of changes have been made to that standard code of conduct. It is being developed commodity wise, so you can refer that while doing agri warehousing. So it is clearly written, and you can follow that. Then there won't be any issue, right?
Yeah, Shrikant sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think so. We are running out of. Yeah, we are
there
running
is
out
one
of time. Is there
one last question? I'll just ask that one question. Sir, how do you see changes that are made in APMC Act? Will it affect the business, warehousing business?
Basically, now what happens, earlier as a warehouse service provider, we were always, taking APMC as a benchmark, right? So whenever we are hiring any warehouse, if it is closer to APMC, then the business is high. So the rentals nearer to APMC is also high. But now in this coming scenario, now at any place, actually the commodities can be bought and it can be stored. So definitely, definitely the warehouses away from APMC are also getting, will be getting more focus now, right now. So people who are having, land in the village level or taluka level or tier 1, tier 2 cities also, they will build warehouses, and the warehousing business will prosper because these companies will go to the production center and they will try to bring the best material at the production center. Definitely agri warehousing will prosper because of this, first one. Second thing is this, contract farming. This has made actually, because APMC is as such, it is there already there, but definitely apart from that also, this corporates and processors, they were trying to buy materials earlier also away from APMC, but they were paying the mandi cess. They are taking the license from mandi through some, taking some shops or through reference and all. But now they will be freely doing it. So I think the agri warehousing will increase by this direct, selling and buying.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mr. Santosh, this is Krishna here once again.
Yeah, Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah, so we would want like your closing comments about the opportunities in the sector, and what are some of the traits that the young agribusiness managers should have to enter the agri warehousing sector?
Opportunities, probably I have shown you a lot of opportunity, but basically, agri warehousing is having 3 pillars. So you should look at these 3 pillars. First one is financing, second one is procurement, and third one is trust. So whether you are a service provider, if you have some kind of, good, you can procure good material and you can supply to any processor or any exporter or anybody, and you can ensure the good quality and traceability of the commodities, then definitely people will love for you. They will go behind you. Second thing is financing, because it is all capital intensive business. If you want to store some material in agri warehousing, then definitely you need capital. So banks are there, but in most of the cases, banks are because of various mishaps happen in last few years, bankers are somehow very reluctant to go aggressive in the commodity financing. So there is a scope of non-banking thing, because you can take limits from bank, and you can also cater, procurement services and trade finance facilitation services to different small players like farmers and all. Many companies are doing in that way. They have made a lot of NBFCs on their own, putting some money and getting from RBI and lending to small and marginal farmers and traders and processors. This is an area you can look at. Definitely, these government agencies are increasing their procurement. So assaying, then audit and inspection, then agri warehousing, then logistics, security provider, then this agri tech related to these commodities. So you can look at it. So it is not one player in the agri value chain. It is a number of players can play, and one small job can be taken up by anybody, and we all together can prosper together. So I think this is the opportunity, and we are always there. If anybody wants to take any kind of small intensive or anything you want to learn how it is practically being done, we are happy to take you, right? And we are also learning, and we will keep learning. So I think this is a large sea. You have to take the opportunity, right?